Today, we're reacting to the amazing scores for Death Stranding 2, plus hear about our hands-on impressions. Then Xbox Shadowdrops a VR headset with Meta. Who is this for, and why do I not so secretly really kind of want to get one? And finally, Expedition 33 Star talks about the surprise hit game, and we do too, so stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends, to Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my faithful faction of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
You can call me Death Gooning.
Dang, Death Gooning here.
Before we hit the headlines, one quick note. We're 269
Nice.
subs away from our goal of 1,000, so if you could hit the like and subscribe button, it would mean a lot. Now with that out of the way, let's break down the week's biggest headlines. First up, Death Stranding 2 is out this week, and some amazing scores. Lord, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so boys, Death Stranding 2 is finally here. Is it no longer the walking simulator that many believed the first game was? Well, right now, Death Stranding 2 is sitting at a 90 on Metacritic. And here are a few things. I know. 90 on Metacritic. Who would have guessed, especially since that first game?
You would have. We would have.
I mean, yeah. The first game, it's got a lot to live up to. So here's a couple things, outlets are saying about the game. So IGN gives it a 90. The original Death Stranding held promise, a complex, often confusing, but never contrived first draft, a reflective journey across a lost America. It established a world that it rules with a flourish, even if I found it stumbling along the path. But in Death Stranding 2 on the beach, Australia plays host to an expanded vision and is more accomplished achievement in nearly every facet. Yes, at times it is unapologetically weird, but that isn't what defines it. It's inventive journey packed full of both shock and awe, this sort of bold work that deserves to be encouraged. No, it isn't perfect, but it's incredibly exciting and original, never once straying from the path less trodden, and I love it all the more for it. Woo! So IGN really came out of the gate giving it that 90. Who would have guessed? I think they gave the original Death Stranding a 6, mind you.
Oh, wow, really?
They made a big jump. They got on board here. Here's what Game Informer also says, because it's a really quick one. They gave it an 88, saying Death Stranding 2 is a game that with faults and annoyances, but it also makes big, expensive swings and is trying to establish its own unique genre, often successfully. GameSpot, they hit it with a 70, though. Basically, just to kind of make a long story short, is they're kind of just saying it lost its way. The original Death Stranding had COVID-19 to rely upon, and it was that whole thing about reconnecting, and they said this one got lost in the sauce a little bit. And of course, I did want to just mention that people on Twitter are claiming it to be the first true PS5 title, which I thought was very interesting, praising the instantaneous load times and insane graphics. So what are you guys surprised by these reviews?
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Super agreed.
I mean, I'm not surprised to some extent. I'm not surprised because people really do love Kojima. So once he's got his name on things, I think that gives a lot of people some flexibility to like something that maybe not is the best thing in the world. But I saw those graphics, man. Norman Reedus's face it's almost video. It really is incredible. It looks exactly like him. He's not in my opinion, he's not the most handsome man in the world. I would have preferred someone a little bit more handsome than him, but that's okay. But it looks exactly like him. And I did see some of those Twitter posts about the load times.
I saw
just popping right into it and it just
crazy.
Instantly being there. So that is fantastic. And I would love to see more games like that. I am thinking about picking up the first one when it goes on sale on Xbox, just to try it again to see if my memory of it is clear and is.
I have it on physical on PlayStation if you want to borrow it from me.
Oh,
maybe. Oh, yeah, I'll think about that.
Physical
Okay, awesome.
coming through in the clutch.
That's because you made me buy it physical. You made me buy it back in the day, and so I bought it physical because it was your recommendation. And Molly, you can borrow it when you come over for the Mario Party Jamboree live stream that we've got when the game updates later on at the end of July.
Oh, yes.
Sounds good.
Good stuff. And, you know, I mean, reviews are great. So, I mean, Dan, you probably agree. Just reviews, crazy, crazy, crazy.
I agree everything with Molding said. I think there's a built-in community. It must really be good if people are flipping out and giving it the scores. But I know that you are a super fan and you've already had time to put your hands on it.
Oh,
What are your
yes.
thoughts? I want to know.
I couldn't resist. I had to go pick it. I had to pick up my pre-order bright and early, 10 a.m. in Best Buy. They're like, this guy's a crazed person. Like I went in and asked if they were having a midnight release, and they were like, no, dude. I think like you were the only person pre-ordering this one from this store. So
Physically, at least.
yeah, physically, they're like, dude, just go buy it digitally.
Yeah.
Like, get out of our hair. It was, yeah, threw it in. You know, it did have a 30 gig patch. So, you know, that did happen. That was a big boy patch. Fired it up. I will say it picks up right where the last game ended. Well,
Let me
actually,
guess. He was walking somewhere.
He was walking,
Okay.
and
There were
this one
packages.
definitely 100% throws you in the middle of it. Like, it starts
Oh,
off
wow, okay.
much faster than the first game. It's kind of a slow burn. You don't even get a gun for like 10 hours in that game.
I didn't know there were guns in that game.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
even get to a
exactly.
point where there were guns.
Yeah, no, people don't know that. They give you a gun in this game in the first like 15 minutes. They're like, have yourself a gun, good sir. Like, go out. And I was just, I mean, of course, the first thing you lay your eyes on is Norman Reedus, you know, kind of hanging out in his shelter, and you just realize that these graphics truly are incredible. The game runs buttery smooth. Wood Kid does the music, and it sounds great. Low Roar did the music for the first one, which people praise as being like very,
I
very
loved
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one I think actually holds up. I was pretty into what they did with the initial like kind of set piece moment. And yeah, so I played all the way up to where they kind of give you the first mission, you set off, and kind of the cards are in place. And man, I was impressed. I will say the first segment had me drawn in, and like I said, it's off to the races right away. So I know that's gonna be a big hit with maybe newcomers to the franchise who, because the first game definitely gave you that slow build. This one's just like, go for it. You're good to go. And yeah, I'm very curious to see, because I haven't seen all the super weird stuff yet. So I don't know if I'm going to be like, this is a little too weird. That's what I'm like, that's what I've been always concerned about with this game. But I'm excited to sink more time into it. Oh, and it was cool too. They definitely changed up the weather. I already experienced a sandstorm, and there was moments with just like lightning strikes down from the sky. It was really awesome. Like, it looked great. Yeah, super impressed so far. I'll definitely keep you guys updated. You know, I can't resist talking more Death Stranding when I can.
Definitely. And then you got it physically right, so you could loan it to me when you're finished, right?
Oh, definitely. I would be happy to. To.
Oh man, that is the good thing about having it on physical. I do miss that. That's for sure.
True.
Yeah, no, it's great. One of the really great things is the subreddit for Death Stranding. Like, you can see and find out so many different. I'm still finding stuff out about the first game that I had no idea about. It's like, so now we just get to reset with more Death Stranding fun.
You definitely have my curiosity piqued, so I want to hear more about it.
I will.
And also has my curiosity piqued is this MetaQuest branded Xbox thing. But before we talk about that, Molding, you have a word from the sponsor.
Yeah, this week's episode is brought to you by our friends at Instant Riot. Instant Riot is a clothing brand for gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone in between. Head on over to instantriot.com to check out their selection of original t-shirts, like the one I'm wearing right now, property of Xbox Athletic Department. And they are the exclusive partner for Good Playing With You merchandise. Enter code FIRSTRIOT for 10% off your first order. Instant Riot, if you know, you know. So
awesome.
Thank you to those guys.
Agreed, and thank you for that. All right, so let's talk about this headset. So Xbox finally has a VR headset, just not in the way most gamers want. Microsoft and Meta have teamed up to launch the Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition, the first ever limited edition Quest headset, retailing at $399.99. The bundle includes a custom Xbox-themed Quest 3S headset, matching Touch Plus controllers, an exclusive Xbox wireless controller, a MetaQuest Elite strap, and 3 months of the Meta Horizon Plus and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. The idea is to give players, quote, everything they need to start a gaming on a large virtual display right out of the box. Xbox Cloud Gaming users can stream the growing library of over 100 supported titles, including the upcoming games like South of Midnight, Oblivion Remastered, and Avowed, with support for cross-play and cross-progression across all of your Xbox devices. However, there are some limitations, and while the headset promotes a seamless Xbox ecosystem experience, it does not support native Xbox console games, so you can't actually install Xbox games on it. You can install the regular MetaQuest ones, but you can only stream them through the cloud for the Xbox. This continues Microsoft's broader vision that, quote, everything is an Xbox, extending the brand beyond consoles to handhelds, smart TVs, and now VR. The MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition is available now in limited quantities and will not be renewed once sold out. So, gentlemen, does this interest you at all, or is this just another blip on the radar of something Xbox branded that you have no interest in and you will never hear from again?
I think I got to skip this one. Unfortunately, I am just not a VR guy. I'm impressed that
But you're a gadget guy. That's crazy.
I know. There's something about it. I think it's just a little too much for my like head. And I just kind of I like a screen. I'm just such like I'm a traditionalist. Just give me a screen in front of there. Just plop me down and I'll be happy. It's just, I'm really surprised that they're still trying to take the VR route. Like I really thought the VR was kind of taking a back seat for now and they were working on other things, but I guess not. Microsoft is jumping in. They must have some data to back up that this might be a lucrative move.
Mulder?
I don't necessarily trust that they have any data whatsoever. Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm not a VR guy. It hurts my head. It gives me a huge headache. I don't find it fun. The very few times I've tried it, so it's just not my thing. Is this the first time that Xbox has had interaction with a VR headset? Is there anywhere else you can play Xbox games?
So good question. What exactly the integration is, other than just a branded headset, is essentially it comes with an app that you can access the Xbox Cloud streaming on. And this, to be fair, like this app is available in other Meta Quest 3s and
Gotcha.
3Ss. I think the 2. So you can actually stream Xbox games to any of these things. I think they're just trying to make a bigger deal and kind of draw in gamers from a different ecosystem. And I don't think Xbox is doing really anything here. I think this is all Facebook and Meta, who's trying to get a shiny coat of paint on it and maybe a marketing beat, which is, you're welcome. And
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting because so when you play the Xbox games in your Meta headset, it is the whole augmented reality where you can see your room, and then it literally is just a screen in front of you that's superimposed over your room, and it's flat. So you're playing your Xbox games like normal. Now you can also download your Meta Quest games and play them in 3D VR. We'll show some of that footage on our YouTube channel, but it's a completely different experience depending on how you're playing and what you're playing. You can also watch movies on the big screen and augment it as well. So, and this thing supports co-op in some games too. I saw the footage. I thought it was kind of cool. I was like, if you're interested in VR, especially as a nerd like I am, like this could be the jumping in point for people on the fence like me who are not exactly sold on VR games, because you're right, Molding, they do kind of make you sick. But if you want like a big TV experience and you want to be able to stream your Xbox games and, play them anywhere throughout the house, I mean, it doesn't stream from your console. It actually does stream from the Xbox Cloud. This could be the solution for you. I just thought it was really neat.
Let me also say this. I don't think I'm willing to drop the $399.
Yeah.
Like if it comes
That's fair.
down to $199, like if it's half off, it's $200, I would consider it for sure. Without a question, actually. I'd be like, okay, that's the price. I think once the technology becomes way more accessible and the price drops, I think that is when I would consider getting it, because I do like the idea of just like sitting there and kind of like zoning out and then like having it, just playing like in any position. I think that is cool. That tempts me.
Well, you
But
could
I
get a
need
3S for $299. It does all the same shit, but this one's $100 more and completely branded and luring in
yeah.
suckers like me.
Yeah, I need.
Does it have to be
yeah.
connected physically to the machine, to anything, or are you
No.
free to be?
You're free.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's a huge difference. I would never buy a VR headset that had to be connected to anything. Like, I'd want to
Agree.
be able to.
I already made that
Yeah.
mistake with the Oculus Rift, and it was a game killer for me. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
No.
could change your opinion. I might pick it up. Who knows? I'll keep you posted on that one.
If you do, I'm trying it. No, without question.
Yeah,
like, I'm hopping in.
I'd try it.
For sure. It might change your opinion, and you never know.
Sure.
So let's talk about some things, though, that are a surefire hit. Let's talk about Expedition 33. Malding, you have a story.
Yeah. You gentlemen are fully aware at this point, I think, what a huge fan I was of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Dan, I know you are currently enjoying your first playthrough, so I was interested to read this little tidbit from Kenneth Shepard at Kotaku. Daredevil actor completely flabbergasted by the public response to his Clair Obscur voice work. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has an incredibly stacked voice cast. Final Fantasy 16 lead and my current crush, Ben Starr, and Baldur's Gate 3-star Jennifer English as Verso and Mael. But perhaps the most recognizable voice among them all is Daredevil actor Charlie Cox. He plays Gustav, the swordsman and gunslinger, the first playable character you inhabit in the RPG. As Clair Obscur has risen in popularity, it seems Cox has been caught off guard by all the hype. This weekend, Cox took part in a Daredevil panel and was asked about his work on Clair Obscur. The actor admitted he hasn't actually played the game himself and seemed a bit frazzled talking about the game, given his knowledge of it is limited to the 4 hours he spent in the booth recording Gustav's dialogue. Quote, I don't mean to minimize it in any way, and it's so cool that apparently the game's awesome, Cox said to the audience. I'm not a gamer. I have no idea. I haven't played it. My agent asked me if I wanted to go to do a voiceover. I was in the studio for 4 hours, maybe. People keep saying how amazing it is and congratulations, and I feel like a total fraud. But I'm so thrilled for the company, and I'm so thrilled it did really well. That's it. Just FYI, ask someone else's question. I feel uncomfortable. Very British of him. It was an endearing moment, and sometimes a voice acting role is just something you hop into a booth for one day and it doesn't become a months-long gig. So, boys, does it affect your enjoyment of a game if you find out that some of the people behind it aren't gamers themselves? And do you have any voice actors like Ben Starr for me that you stand for?
I guess like it's not a huge deal if they're not gamers. I think it adds, it's a plus, you get some points if you are a gamer and you're a voiceover, work. I think that's
For
great.
sure.
Like, that's cool. I'm with you though, Molding. I'm a Ben Starr guy myself. Like,
he's so good.
Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy 16. So good. Like, voiceover is perfect. I'm just, the strange thing about this story to me is that he said he did 4 hours. How did he do? How?
I know.
Shocking.
I know.
Dude, that's
I think he just must have nailed every part.
like
everything.
He must have.
Okay, I thought, like, I misread. I was like, all right, he must have gotten replaced or something. Like, he did 4 hours of work and then someone else took over, because like 4 hours for.
Well, he must have done a lot of prep, because to be honest with you, Gustav nails those lines.
Yeah.
He understands the story. He understands the emotion. Here's my position on this one is like, I am currently playing both the Altars and this game at the same time. And the Altars has the worst, most painful voice acting I have ever experienced in a game. It is physically painful. And then you've got this, which is like, whoa, it's such on the other side of the spectrum. There's so much talent here from the developers and the designers and the music and everything, and that includes the actors. I think if I can't judge a person whether they play video games or not, if you're going to make me sit through a game like the Altars acting and a game like the Expedition 33, I will hands down choose Expedition 33 any day. It doesn't matter, as long as you don't suck and ruin the game. I can't look at Peter Dinklage as the same at
Mm,
all after his
that's a
Wizards
good
from the
call.
Moon, line
Yeah.
reading. Like, I can't respect him as an actor. Although I'm going to try and suspend my disbelief with the new Toxic Avenger that's coming out. But it's been that long that I have not been able to respect him. He might be able to make me change when that one comes. So it's a huge disconnect for me between the spectrum here of like people that can voice act and people can't, and it really changes the game. So yeah, it's a bummer. And then if an actor or a performer does play video games, like Lord said, it is very endearing. Ronda Rousey was asked one time on the carpet of the UFC match when she was going to go fight if she played any video games, and rattled off this whole diatribe about Pokemon and her starter Pokemon and how passionate she was about Pokemon. And that only made me love Ronda Rousey even more. So that was a really cool experience. So yeah, I guess it affects your opinion, but if it comes down to a good performance versus not, I'm for the good performance every time.
Do you have any voice actors you think of and you're like, oh, I'm so happy that that person, that man, that woman is in that game, and I look forward to hearing their performance? No.
Oh, I would like to point out who I thought was interesting. There's an actress from Grey's Anatomy who does the voice acting for Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raiders.
Oh,
And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I had no idea. She did all the new Tomb Raiders. And I mean, I'm blanking on her name, but I thought that was like an interesting, like, that was a very interesting, like, Grey's Anatomy Tomb Raider. Straight
Yeah,
up.
it's like when Freddie Prinze Jr. did the voice of Bull in the Dragon Age games. I was like, whoa, this is Freddie Prinze Jr. He's so funny and charming and amazing. But if I had to pick one actor, I would probably just try and bug Molding and say Ben Starr and try and steal him away from him just to get your goat. So yeah,
oh,
Ben
he's
Starr's
so
my
handsome.
favorite now, Molding. What are you going to do about it? Come at me.
Oh, he's so
There is
good.
I love Matt Mercer from Critical Role, but he is one that his voice is instantly recognizable now in everything I hear him in. It's like, oh, there's Matt Mercer, he's one that comes up all the time. So him, I'm getting a little like, oh, that's McCree, or I guess McCree is not the name anymore. Whatever his name is in Overwatch. But yeah, Charlie Cox did an awesome job in Expedition 33. And
Are you guys ready for the ultimate conspiracy theories to end all conspiracy theories?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I love your crazy.
They only needed him for 4 hours because then they had AI do all the other lines.
Ooh, that could be a thing, bro.
No, dude,
that could be a thing.
I think that's why he was uncomfortable about the thing. Like, he was uncomfortable. Like, why else would you be uncomfortable at a project that's killing it? Like, he's probably more well known for Claire than, I mean, Daredevil's pretty popular.
Yeah,
But
no,
right
he's
now
known for that.
he's been like unlocked to a whole nother community. And
Agreed.
so it's strange to me that
I don't believe it, but I love watching Molding's face get uncomfortable and upset when you say it. So that kudos for that.
Well, I want you guys to finish the game. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, I will.
Okay.
I will. Good stuff.
I definitely will too. I'm enjoying it, and that's not even my style of game. And we'll have to talk more about that one later.
Yeah.
But speaking of video games, we need to talk about. I'm chomping at the bit to talk about the Blood of the Dawnwalker. Everyone who's listening to the podcast knows I've been harping about this one for a good year or so, and we have to. Sorry, you're gonna have to put up with me for another year because it doesn't release until next year. But they did just drop 20 minutes of footage. If you're watching a YouTube version, we're gonna play it now, so definitely check it out. But I thought it was incredible. I've had so many questions about this. We brought it up on the pod for such a long time. But it was finally, they put a 20-minute piece of gameplay out on YouTube. So if you've been following this one, you know it's coming from Rebel Wolves, and it's a studio made up of former Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 devs, and it just dropped this past week. The first showing post Xbox Game Showcase gives us new footage with a deeper look and a Witcher style combat, dark magic system, choice-driven dialogue, and brutal vampire enemies. It's set in a gritty, plague-ravaged 14th century Europe where you can play as Cohen, a man turned into a Dawnwalker, cursed to walk between worlds. Your choices shape your path. Cling to your humanity or embrace your powers to save your family. It's a dark fantasy action RPG with a heavy narrative focus built in Unreal Engine 5 and looks absolutely stunning. Launches next year on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. This one is definitely climbing to the top of my must-play list. So, what did you guys think about the new footage? Has it sold you at all? Or any questions, thoughts? What do you guys think?
Well, let me talk about a couple of things that I loved about it. First thing, I love the fact that it looked like you had two different skill trees based on whether it was day or night, and that your powers were different in the day versus in the night. I thought that was super cool. Loved that. It looked gorgeous. I mean, man, it's showing its Witcher 3 influence all over that game, and which is awesome. And then I love what he kept on saying about making a sandbox and playing it your own way. Love that. It's very Baldur's Gate. I'm all in on all that. What I'm not in on is that fighting. What they showed right away, the combat there of having to angle it and change your direction of your sword swings, which is what it looked like. There was another game way back in the day that you had to do that with.
For Honor,
Was it
and
For
Kingdom
Honor?
Come.
I was
And
gonna
Kingdom
say
Come.
Kingdom
It was
Deliverance.
Kingdom Come. There you go.
Yep.
No, that is why they went that direction, man. That does not look fun to me.
That was a
combat.
boner killer.
Boner killer. Yeah.
Blood of the Boner Killer. Dang.
I'm not going to be gooning over that one.
Well,
Lord,
I
what do you
have a
think?
big confession to make. I was gonna watch it, and then I ended up playing Death Stranding, and
Oh,
I
you
blew
rat
it and didn't
bastard.
watch that. But guess what? I took away everything. I just mentally absorbed everything you guys just said, and I
You'll clock it away.
And formed
I'll
an opinion on footage you didn't see. You're a genius.
I will say I do like the idea of a day and night skill tree. Never even heard of that. So that is genius.
So yeah, he has a skill tree and he has powers that he can only use during the nighttime
Right.
as a vampire,
Yeah.
and powers.
That's
And what was
really
cool
cool.
is they would set up a mission and then they showed him doing the mission during the day, and it was completely different than doing the mission at night. And you had to, like, at night you have to like stay fed or else he'll berserk out and just like chomp on someone and stuff like that. So you have to find people and not get busted. During the night you had really cool powers where you could walk up the sides of buildings and leap from rooftop to rooftop. During the day also looked kind of interesting because you could walk through the city and you were pretty much undetectable. And the city made me think Molding's going to like it because it had so many different characters. It was definitely a fantasy setting with like weird different beings and characters and stuff like that. So it was definitely a different look. I think, to be honest with you, for me, it's like, holy Witcher, this is clear. I mean, wow, did they just steal the source code? I mean, it really kind of looks a little. I mean, I kept saying, oh, I want it to be the Witcher, but this is like literally the Witcher. I was like,
that's a really good impression of you, by the way.
Yeah. So it was. I think I'm still super excited, but I think Malding, you nailed the only issue I have. That combat makes me nervous. It makes me really nervous. I know that like Witcher 3, they had this whole thing where you had two different swords based on like what the enemy was. And that I was like, oh, I don't know. But they made it really simple and easy. And the oils didn't really matter in the end of the day. And that you could just overpower it because Geralt got so powerful. And I'm kind of hoping the same thing happens here. Now at night, he can like same combat, but he's using his hands. So maybe that's maybe we just play the whole thing at night. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It still looked like it had that directional combat with his claws in nighttime. So I don't know. Well, maybe it's just something I have to play and get used to it and get good at it. But that is it. It did not speak to me.
Yeah, I just wanted Vampire Gerald, and I don't think. Just on Vampire Gerald.
Geralt.
I just couldn't wait to drop that again. I think about that a lot and think, oh my god, I can't believe I called him Gerald.
It's okay.
But I just like, I mean, hey, if we get more Witcher, that's great. I mean, what do we think? Is this going to come out before Witcher 4?
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah.
This will be like mid next year.
Then that'll be good
next
for
year.
it. Then if they sneak it out before Witcher 4, then that'll probably be to their benefit if it's looking like a clone.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't get me wrong, I'm still super pumped about this game, but it went from a day one purchase to a day one read the reviews and make sure the combat's not too stupid and then purchase. So
Yeah,
we'll
agreed.
still be excited about it and talk about it, but man, that
Yeah.
combat system sure looked shitty.
No, I know. You've mentioned the Kingdom Come. Every time I think, I'm like, oh man, that is just a
I've
tough one.
tried so hard to get into that game and I just can't because the combat is so shitty. And I can't believe people actually enjoy that crap.
I know.
I'm just I spent like freaking $70 on that game because it looks really good and beautiful.
Wait,
You can hump Hans.
the second one though?
Yeah.
You didn't like the second combat?
No, that one sucked
Oh.
too.
What? Oh, I thought
Yeah.
that one was pretty good. The first one I thought was really tough and you couldn't fight at all. But the second one I thought was like pretty refined.
Okay,
Like
well,
if
I will
it's like
definitely
that,
give it
then I'm
another.
okay.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot when I'm desperate and I run out of other games.
Yeah. I got it.
That game's gonna be there for a while. And speaking of games that are often there for a while, the Pokemon franchise never leaves us. It seems the Pokemon franchise is eternal, at least for some people. Molding, you had a horror story about this.
Yeah, not everyone is rosy for Switch 2 owners and Pokemon, and it was a very bad one in particular for one player. Tom Phillips at IGN brings us this story. Distraught Pokemon fan lost 1,000 plus hours and 20 years of progress during a Switch 2 system transfer. Nintendo Switch 2 owners, nightmare. Nintendo Switch 2 owners who say they've lost Pokemon save files are strongly recommending other fans make use of the franchise's Pokemon Home storage app before booting up their new consoles and initiating a system transfer. One report details a fan's experience transferring their original Switch's data to their new Switch 2, only to find their Pokemon Scarlet save file had been lost in the process. Other fans responding to the post have reported similar issues, and an IGN staff member experienced the same. The Reddit post by user ThatOtaku26 claims their save file had more than 1,000 hours of gameplay and over 2 decades of beloved Pokemon. Quote, I just got a Switch 2, did the startup and initial data transfer with no issues, this person wrote. My Scarlet save file is gone. It loads straight into the language section and create a character screens. No data on my OLED, just all gone. Literally 20 years worth of data. There's nothing I can do. I don't even know if I want to play anymore. For Pokemon fans, this is why their save files are so precious, as some players bring over creatures that they have been playing with multiple previous games, some released years ago. Of course, the Pokemon franchise does have its own cloud save offering, the Pokemon Home app, which comes with its own subscription plan that kicks in if you want to store more than 30 creatures. And this app is what fans are now recommending to anyone wanting to continue their Pokemon save files on Switch 2, just to make sure their virtual creatures survive the move to Nintendo's new console. So, boys, can you think of a time where you lost a lot of progress in a video game through no fault of your own?
Oh yeah, this one. The first thing that comes to my head, I was playing Super Metroid SNES back in the day. My brother's friend comes in, tries to jump over the cord that I'm playing, takes down the Super Nintendo. I had like just collected all the energy tanks and hits the ground. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I was a little upset, but I was like, no big deal. We'll reset. Everything was erased. And
everything,
man,
the whole
oh
file
man,
gone.
the whole everything. Yeah, it was just the whole file gone. And was I upset? I was so mad. I was like, I couldn't believe it. But one thing about this story that like 20 years and only 1,000 hours.
Oh, that's
what a rookie.
That's like rookie numbers, dude. 20 years, 1,000. Like, I'm sorry not to point it out, but I think it like I would, if I had 20 hours in the game or 20 years in the game, I would definitely have closer to like 5K
You know what?
hours.
That's a really interesting point because I think I was approaching 1,000 hours in Overwatch. And that was definitely not 20 years.
I mean,
interesting.
It sounds
it's still a lot of stuff.
It is, like, no doubt. And I'm not to downplay it, but I was like, man, I mean, still a lot of, I mean, I think it's more the legacy of it all is the big problem. I mean, geez, that's and it's happening to multiple people. Like Nintendo needs to get the reins in on this one for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that on that. And just to back up, Lord, there was one time he lent me a copy of a Pokemon, and I plugged it in, and it's got multiple save files with all like tons of hours, and he's just like, "Yeah, just go ahead and erase it." And I'm like, I can erase one of these easily. Oh yeah, just erase it. One of those was. I was horrified. I couldn't believe he was so generous with
Yeah.
it. I was like, I'm not going to
Just,
erase your Pokemon. Oh my god, you had
I
all
was
of the
ready.
save files in there, but it was crazy. It was very nice of you, but I'm not going to erase a man's Pokemon. That's just it's a
That's
bridge
very
too far for me.
Yeah, it was a test. You passed the test.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a true friend, right? Oh, that's funny as shit. I think the only time I lost serious progress was when my dog Ralph peed on Zelda 2. And I guess maybe it shorted the battery out or something like that. But that damn dog, wiped all my progress
Oh man.
off of Zelda 2. And that's a
So
hard
funny.
game.
How could you tell if Zelda 2 was broken? Because it was broken from the very start. That game was crazy.
I think I'm the only one who liked that game. I did like that game.
I liked it. It was nuts to play. Like, it didn't make any sense. It was wild. And then so for me, one time I was Starfield just recently. I mean, within the last couple of years, I had played like 2 hours through this dungeon, and then the dungeon through this space port or whatever, and then one of the final enemies glitched underneath the ground, and I couldn't kill it to finish the dungeon.
No.
And I had to restart because it saves every single time you go through a door. It auto saves,
And there are a lot of doors in that game.
and there are a lot of doors, and I had to go back to my previous hard save file, which was like 3 or 4 hours before that, and I still played it, but I was not happy about it. But that pales in comparison to 20 years and thousands of hours.
So. Oh, for sure. I mean, she definitely has the worst.
Yeah.
And that Pokemon, I looked it up. That Pokemon like storage system is $16 a year.
That's crazy.
Oh,
they're just fleecing you all the time.
Yeah, for Pokemon
Home.
my. But think $16 would have saved her so much heartache.
But but it's not 1 month they would have to spend.
I think that's the annual fee.
Oh, annual? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
No.
$16 annually. Yeah, I know that poor lady. Oof. Pour one out for her this weekend. Sheesh.
Seriously.
That is rough.
I mean, like, don't you think Nintendo would have the bandwidth to go back and like try to save it in some capacity, like a cloud save that they could? Because this is going to be like a PR situation. I can already tell. Like,
they're probably already dealing with people who are Animal Crossing. Those islands don't go through the cloud either, and people lose their islands if you don't do like a manual transfer and stuff like that. So the system is not foolproof, and that is one reason why I don't really buy digital on Nintendo. I just don't trust them, and this is perfect examples of like all this bad PR with like the Animal Crossing and now this girl's Pokemon and stuff like. And my own experience giving the Nintendo Switch 2 and downloading from the cloud and certain games working and certain things not working, it was just really confusing. So it's a tough situation out there. I just don't think they're not an adult console, really. Like, they're not really professional. So it's to be expected with these junior kind of consoles. Yeah, it is. It's real junior varsity here. Oh, crazy. But speaking of crazy, there's Stalker 2, another Lord game, has a huge ass mod. What's going on?
So this is crazy. I'm going to keep this one short because it's really like, there's not much more than just like what is going on here. So, Stalkers 2 modding. Oh, this comes from Kotaku's Zach Sweezen, by the way. Thank you for always providing the best.
A lot of content Zach provides.
So Stalker 2's modding tools require 700 gigabytes of space.
Wait, that's just to create a mod, you have to download 700 gigs? Or to play a mod?
No, to create a mod, you need to download 700 gigs. Which is like, dude, that is insane. Just like initially, that is crazy. So, as spotted by PC Gamer on June 25th, Stalker 2's modding tools are available to download for free on the Epic Games Store. And if you scroll down On the page, you'll see that the kit requires 700 gigabytes of hard drive space. And you thought Call of Duty Warzone was big. Zach, you silly goose. The outlet downloaded the monstrous modding kit and discovered it actually takes up around 659 gigabytes, which is still really massive, but at least gives you a bit of extra space for a video game or two on your PC. So like, this is crazy. 700, to be honest, like what are they trying to do here? 700 gigs. I've never heard of something this big in the modding community. Then again, I'm not super into it, but like, do you think this is kind of trying to limit the modders? Like only a certain amount of people I think are going to, you don't think so? It's like 700 gigs is a lot of space.
I would bet that they're giving a lot of tools. I would think that there's just so much stuff that they're giving modders that it's just a crazy amount. So I would bet if you're a good, I don't know. I'm not a PC modder, not a PC gamer, but I would bet that that those people are probably really happy to have so much stuff. Maybe, I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, that's a perfect thing. If you're a modder, let us know. I would love to know more.
I think that's just a lot of work just to make a nudie mod.
That's okay. Right. Seriously, like, is it worth the effort to do that? Like 700 gigs,
it's always worth it to make a nudie mod. But other than that,
fair.
God bless them.
I'm just thinking, man, like 700 gigs though, like you need your own like SSD specifically for that. And like sometimes most people just have like 500 gigs on an SSD or lying around. So it's like, you might not even be able to get this bad boy. So that's why I'm just like, you have to be very select. This is targeting a hardcore modder. That's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. 700 gigs.
Crazy. Huh. Good for them, though. That's great.
Yep. Won't be modding that one anytime soon.
No.
Well, that pretty much wraps up everything we have for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast, please tell 269
nice
friends. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good play with you.